I don't identify as a furry, but I do appreciate good furry art. Like I mean, like I remember having a conversation with a roommate of mine in college. Is that like we saw to compare two there were two images side by side, or rather three images. It was it was a woman in like a nice seductive pose, and then another one was like it was like an anime style version of that exact same pose, but obviously it wasn't a real person. And then the third one, that exact same pose, but like it was a curvy fox character. And we found all three of those images attractive. It's still the female form. It's still hitting all the things in the male brain that it would hit. It's just that like one of them has got larger eyes than the other ones, and the other one has got a tail.
Hello, everyone. It's Akski with another episode of Project Vibes. And today we have Purple Mantis.
Hello, internet.
Uh, yep. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Purple Mantis, and I make filthy puppets do nasty things to each other for fun and profit.
Yep. So, how is your day?
I just came back from work, so it's already looking up.
Ah, you must be tired.
Oh yes,
Glad.
oh yes, very tired, but I'm glad to be here, like in my natural environment, and like looking forward to sleep later.
Yep. Pretty surprised you still got energy with you.
A little bit. No, I could have a lot more, but it is what it is. Like I'm at a point where like I there's stuff I gotta get done. There's stuff that I want to get done, and like I gotta go through as many cups of coffee as I need to make it happen.
Oh, you like coffee, huh?
Well, not necessarily coffee if there's nothing else available. Other times I might get like one of those drinks that have got like a lot of B vitamins in them, or I'm trying to think what else. What was that one drink called? Electrolytes. That's the thing. Electrolytes.
Ah, I see. There's a lot of hybrid coffees nowadays. They put corn in it, mangosteen, some banana. That's a lot of flavors now.
I like me some mangosteen. Like I just discovered that like 2 years ago.
Yep. Well, in my end, I cannot consume coffee because I'm acidic.
Oh.
Yeah, but I still drink alcohol, but I cannot take the coffee because it's addicting, and yeah, it gives me heartburn.
Heartburn. Yeah, I don't know what's worse, a heartburn or a rapid heartbeat in regards to that.
Yeah, and it makes you hyper as well. Like it's about time to go to bed, and you're still hyper, and you couldn't sleep. I've been through that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that right now I've still got some juice in me just because like I've got the other thing that usually keeps me awake is if I've got like if my mind is occupied with something, like if I've got like a task at hand, like that can in some cases that can keep me awake. But like it's a double-edged sword where like if I'm watching a movie with somebody and like the plot just isn't doing it for me, and like it's like 11 o'clock at night, like if I'm not engaged at all, I'll just pass out.
Yeah. So yeah, how's your projects going? I
Slowly.
see you have a web. I see you have a new website already.
Oh yeah,
What's up with that?
that website has actually been up for, let me think. I think it's been up for probably about maybe 3 or 4 years at this point. The folks over at Coupa put that together for me. I don't know if you work with them or not
Oh,
before. Yeah.
no, I have not heard of them actually.
Oh yeah, they're
I've
good.
been
Yeah, they are a game studio. It is like KUUPA. They are a game studio slash publisher. Like they have a couple of hentai games on Steam, or a couple of ones are in production on Steam. But like they also are trying to work to be a well, not trying to. They are providing web hosting solutions for NSFW creators. Like my website, they is made and hosted by them. Queen Complexes is as well. I'm trying to think who else is on there, but a couple of people are on there, and like they've been pretty good to me so far.
is Washa in there too?
Yeah, I think Washa.
Washa.
Yeah, I believe Washa's website is run off of their platform as well.
Oh, I didn't realize there's something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's I think that obviously a lot of people, they work with Patreon and some other like and some other sites, but like a lot of them are kind of iffy about working with NSFW creators, and sometimes they'll just have a keen eye on your content and be like, "Oh no, we don't want to be associated with this. Our credit card processors will run away from us." So they Coupa made it a point to like try to provide that solution for those of us who dabble on the funny side of art, I guess is the best way I could put it. But they're good people.
I see. Wow, I just learned something today. Right? So is this Coupa some did they invite you, or you just
They reached
sign up?
I met them through a mutual friend in the NSFW space, and they basically one guy he had recommended them to me. Like I had actually been talking with like the guy who was I guess basically the CEO of the company, like not knowing that this was one of his side hustles, and just one day I had I forget who I was talking to about like trying to have my own solution, and I think it was it was shortly after the Tumblr mass Tumblr exodus from 2018, I think, when they stopped allowing porn on it. And everybody was trying to, it was either running to Newgrounds and Twitter and, trying to find a solution to upload their stuff. And I think in the midst of all of that, like I ended up having conversations with a Coupa, and like now and I don't have the site as a way to make money or anything. It's just as a personal archive in case the places where I do try to monetize my stuff just kind of evaporates. At least I still have a place that people can go to see everything as I make it.
Yeah, I was actually planning to put up a website of my own stuff as well. Like, yeah, just something similar, like a archive where people come and see all of my works from the past. Like a one place where they can see all of my stuff.
Yeah. Look them up sometime. Like they might be able to do something for you. If you don't have a method of doing it for yourself.
Yeah, I actually my programmer already set it up for me, but I still have not worked on it. But it's coming, I guess.
Cool.
I just need to, work.
Story of my life.
Yeah, it's been busy. How about you? You have a day job?
I have multiple part-time jobs to pay the bills while I'm trying to build my brand and just get projects out of the way. And obviously I have, it's not as bad as it was a couple of years ago, but like I still have like commissions for people that I took a long time ago. And I kind of dug myself into that own hole for that immediately. There were there was a point where I was just like, oh yeah, I'll take these commissions and whatnot, not realizing that like you animate stuff. Animation takes a lot longer than individual pictures, and nobody asks me for small projects anymore. But like that's why. But like I stopped doing proper commissions a while ago. So now, hopefully, when I do eventually finish out the queue that I'm in, I'll be able to. The goal would be to do my own projects and everything, because I'm hopefully doing well enough that I don't necessarily have to hustle and grind in the same way I did, like, I'm gonna say like maybe 6 years ago or whatnot. That's the hope, at least.
Yeah, so you taking too much commissions and you haven't delivered something like that, right?
Oh no, I've been delivering on stuff. Like I have been like it's been slow, but like I've gradually been chipping away at it. The only things that I have got left are like massive projects that people ask for, like stuff that's got like oh geez. Things that have like, 5 or 6 different scenes, have got like intros where you're going into like the characters' backstories and like justifying the reason for like, why they're getting boinked. It's just like, basically somebody is playing out, people who are like playing out like their fan fictions and stuff via me. And like some of them have been pretty fun, but like others have been not so much. Not going to point out which ones.
I see. So it's just some details I keep getting added, I guess.
I had one where the dude, or every couple of months, the dude came back and like changed up the scenario and changed the characters and whatnot. But I mean, thankfully, because it was one of those larger projects that I hadn't gotten around to, like the worst I did, like the most that I was able to do was just do like some rough sketches for the scenes to see if he was happy with it and whatnot. But so I didn't lose too much time doing that. But yeah, for the most part, I want to say like all the smaller things that I've taken commissions for have been delivered. But like, I think there's probably maybe 3 large projects that I have yet to deliver on. But like, need to find a time and just need to find a time. That's all it is to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it happened to me before as well, Commissions can be
Are you
very addicting.
Yeah. Are you still doing commissions for people, or are you gotten to the point where like you're able to sustain yourself on your own personal projects? Because I feel like every time I check in on you every couple of months, I see it's like a rogue carrier is up there, and it was just like I'm envious, very envious.
Yeah, I still take commissions from time to time, but I try to minimize it as much as I could, because when you start taking these commissions, they just swamp you. They just piling in, and
It's hard to say no.
once one person find out you are open for commissions, they they will message you right away, and sometimes I get 10 messages after I posted it. So I have to be picky.
Oh, I mean, hey, you're at least in a position where you can be picky. I mean, like, I don't know how it is for you, but like when I first started out, like I had one little animated GIF that I put out there to say that, hey, yeah, I'm open for it. And literally the very first ask I got was like, hey, how do you feel about Fuda? And I was like, come on, man.
I'm looking for money. Why did you ask that?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like some of the coolest people that like I've worked with have been like Fuda fans and everything, and like them and the furries, man. Like they're actually some of the some of them are like some of the like coolest humans that I've ever interacted with. But yeah, I mean there have been a few not so cool ones as well.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, I think. I also have an experience with furry people. Some of them are very nice, and some of them are just outright assholes.
Mhm.
Yeah, one guy that I work with, he reported me
Oh,
on PayPal, and that account got fucked up. I had to make another one.
what did so like what did he say that you did wrong?
Yeah, he reported me that I'm doing not safe for work stuff, something like that,
No.
and that I yeah that not safe for work stuff are are not allowed on PayPal. Although we just get around on it. So yeah, that guy snitched on me essentially.
I'm mad in hindsight on your behalf for that one. But I mean, like, did PayPal? If I were PayPal, I'd be like, well, okay, that's yeah, we'll look into it. But like, how do you know? What are you doing using PayPal for, sir?
Yeah, something like that could happen, but you know, they just said that I was doing some suspicious activity, and they were asking for my ID or something, and I just got sick of it and just made another that's clean. So at the time, I thought if this happens on this account, it's possible that it will be monitored and there's they will still block it anytime. So I need to make a new one. Yeah, that's what I did.
That must have been exhausting. Sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah. Well, it took me a while to get it back on running, and yeah, that guy was a real asshole, man. I starting from that point, I didn't work with furry people anymore. Although although I was furry myself, even back then,
I mean,
from high school.
there's no shame in that.
Yeah, I've been I actually saved some of my drawings somewhere. I put it in a folder. It's actually a hand drawn drawings.
Oh, cool. No, man. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like we're in a generation now where not as many artists coming up there are like using analog tools as much if they've got access to it, which is a good thing and a bad thing. You know, I mean, it's good that like these super expensive tools these tools that were super expensive, like 15, 20 years ago, are like a little bit more accessible to people. But like I used to be an art teacher as well. I always even though I use that stuff for teaching purposes. Like I always tried to emphasize people, hey, learn how to use a pencil first, and like you won't always be in a situation where you have Control Z to fix your mistakes.
yeah, they had it easy nowadays.
Mm.
Um, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, hold on to like some of those analog drawings. Like, if nothing else, like you can like I don't know. Looking back at where you had been before to where you are now, like it might be a bit. It might be the confidence booster you need on a rainy day or something.
Yes, I actually look at it when I'm really depressed. Like I said on my previous episodes, I look back when I'm down. I'm comparing myself today and where I was before. So yeah, it really helps that it's
Nice.
there.
It's
Although
cool.
I'm although I'm planning to use it as fundraisers at some point, you know, sell sell them.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that works because I wanted to buy a new GPU
Oh
and
yeah.
it's too expensive for me. And yeah, I couldn't afford it. I was contemplating on selling it, but luckily I found a decent one, which is 12 gigabyte GPU, and I think I'm gonna stay with it for a while.
Hopefully it will. Yeah, I'd be like, I haven't. I figure that the only time that I'll need to upgrade from what I've got now will probably be if I end up installing Blender or some other kind of a 3D program on there. But like, I don't have any. Like, I don't have a need to do it yet. But I'm dreading the day when it's gonna need to happen. Like I'm knocking on
Yeah,
all the wood surfaces in my office here, hoping that this thing, this rig that I'm using now lasts me for like another 5 to 6 years, hopefully. Like I was impressed
yeah.
I was impressed that it was able to run Baldur's Gate last month when I was able to get it going. I'd be like, yeah, but it's still paying dividends.
Yeah, computers are very good investment for artists.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been doing some AI lately, and yeah, that's what the GPU was for. And
Oh.
they released a XD SDXL version model, and this GPU that I'm using cannot handle it because it's too big. I guess I guess it can be used, but it's gonna take forever to render.
No.
So I think that model
Is it a
will
2D?
require
Is the AI
34 gig.
is it 2D AI or 3D AI?
Uh, you can do 2D and 3D actually on AI.
Huh. Anyway. Well, I guess like I mean the majority of the AI that like I've seen has been just like it's been 2D stuff. I didn't actually no, I take that back. Like I've seen people like someone was talking about, oh hey, now we can make like full commercials using AI and whatnot. But like the commercials I've seen, it's been like nightmare fuel, where like the food was like fusing with people's hands and stuff like that.
Yeah. That was a few months ago, 5 months ago, I think.
Mm.
Although it's improving now, and yeah, still there's still the problems with training, because if you want to create a character, you will need a lot of images, and in my end, I am still not done with one character, although took me 3 months to train it, and I'm still not satisfied. I guess for artists like us, it's the training will take forever
I mean,
to train.
I'd probably just draw the thing myself, to be honest.
Yeah. So how's your life now? I mean, is making games your full time now, or you still have to?
It's not my full time thing. Like one of the multiple part time jobs I had for a while was working as a cleanup animator on sprite based indie games. Like folks who had been following me for a while knew that like I worked on Skullgirls under another name, and that kind of opened up the door for me to like work on a few other projects. Let's see what else I did. I worked on Indivisible as well. That was from the same company, so there was that. I worked.
No way. You
Oh,
did
did you?
Indivisible?
Oh yeah, are you a fan? Did you play it?
No, I actually had animated some of it.
Oh,
I believe.
you worked with them?
Oh, Indivisible. Well, hold on. Oh no, that's a different show. I'm sorry.
Okay. I was like, what? How did it? I was like, wait, how did that happen? and I didn't realize.
Yeah, remember the project we did on a studio a while before. I forgot the title of the show. I thought it was Indivisible, but it was a different project, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So it was a show, not a game, right? Or was it a game?
It- no, it's a show.
Okay, there.
It's a TV show.
Oh, you mean Invincible?
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Okay,
That
yeah,
one.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a way different thing. Yeah. Yeah. Invincible. That was the Amazon show based off the comic. No, my thing it was a turn-based RPG by the Skullgirls people. It was played a lot like I think Valkyrie Profile. No, Valkyrie Profile. I think was the inspiration, at least for the battle system. But it had a lot of East Indian and East Asian influences from the just from the world and whatnot. But yeah, I worked on that. I worked on Battle Chef Brigade. I worked on let's see what else. Well, I did I also worked with a indie animation studio on a couple of spots for Adult Swim as well, also under a different name. So that it was a weird little portfolio of side hustles that I ended up gathering as a result of that. But that was stuff that I was doing like on the side while still doing NSFW work and whatnot. And I did have a couple of part-time jobs where, like, I work as a just a lot of random stuff here and there, like a lot of brand ambassador work too. It's like what, yeah, but like it's all stuff to just like keep the bills paid while but it's a vicious cycle. You want to do your own stuff, you want to build your brand, but as with most art, like, doing art stuff, it takes a while to do, especially if you're animating. But during that time, the power company and the water people, they still want you to pay their bills. So you have to go out and do stuff that'll get you money faster. But the amount of time that you're spending working that stuff is time that you're not drawing, and the drawing's not getting done. And the things that you're trying to do are getting further and further away from you. So it's a vicious cycle. I hate it.
Yeah. I'm actually curious because
Uh-huh.
you said you worked on animation studio in the US, right? So
Yeah, it was. They are based out of the U.S., but like all the stuff that I did was done remotely. Like that's a beautiful thing with the internet. It's like the companies that I worked with are like on the other side of the country, but like, as long as I had access to Photoshop and like whatever other program that they use in their pipeline, and my email still works, I can I can still do the work and send it to them.
yeah. Here in the Philippines, the payment is by seconds. Is it the same with the studios that you worked before?
The payment is by what?
We're paid every seconds.
Oh, paid it in seconds? Oh, well, yeah. It's and it varies from studio to studio. Some of them have got their own. There's like a little vetting process they got to go through. Like sometimes they'll send you the money through PayPal. Sometimes their accountant is like super fast with it. But like it's some people have paid me faster than others. But for the most part, like I usually got it in a reasonable amount of time.
No, I mean the animations. Let's say you made a 5 second.
Oh, second. Seconds as in like doing the work.
Yep, yep.
Well, again, that also depended on what the project was. Um, like for some of the Adult Swim stuff, like it would be like multiple shots, and like some shots be more complex than others. Like I might have one that would be like 1 or 2 seconds that you're doing, or I might have another one that might be like half a second or something along those lines. Whereas for like the game stuff, I was just basically applying ink and paint to ink paint and final lines to some rough animations that had already been done, and like that's just on a frame by frame basis. It could be like something where I might have like a 35 frame sequence that like when you see it in game, it's like not even half a second of the frames that I cleaned up that you might see. Though I have had some instances where like some of the cleaned up frames that I do, like I showed up on the front of well, actually, if you look on the box cover for Skullgirl's Second Encore, like there's a shot where the character Beowulf is holding up his wrestling belt, and like that was one of my frames.
I see. So you're like assisting with the final product.
Yeah. With animation, like there are like unless you're a single creator doing everything, like even from the art, the voice acting, and producing it, and all that, like in most cases, stuff like that is like a big collaborative effort. Like you have one person whose job it is to like do key poses. You have another person, have multiple people whose jobs would be to do the in between frames for those key poses, and then you have people like me whose job is to make sure that like those individual poses are on model and on model when they apply the final lines to them, and also like making sure that like all the colors match up so that when it gets passed over to the people who have to tie all that stuff together, that like everything's just ready for them to go. And like it's a very iterative and collaborative process, and like everybody's got to be on the same page to make it from start to finish on it. It's actually quite a miracle that any animation or video game or any other kind of visual narrative gets done at all, because there's so many things that could potentially go wrong along the way.
Yep. Big projects are very sensitive. If one fails, the whole thing falls apart.
Mm-hmm. And actually, at least, and you might be able to tell me this, like the last time I checked, the Philippines actually was like a lot of, for a couple of companies, the Philippines was like a go-to place for animation assistants, especially like doing a lot of in-between work there.
Yeah, they actually did some Disney films here. There's there's this studio called Toon City. Yep. And there's also the Toy Animation Philippines, where they send all the frames.
Toy does have a studio. It does have a studio out there. I forgot.
Yeah. They send the key poses, and then the guys from here does the in betweening. I actually tried it in a subcontractor. I did some scenes for One Piece.
Yo, that's awesome.
I didn't like it because the checking is too strict, and I left.
And
I went ahead to I moved to another studio.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I actually love anime even before, and I was really hyped at the time. Oh man, I'll be drawing One Piece, and then once I tried it, it actually I was disappointed
Uh,
because
yeah, once you're
my
actually working in
expectation was so high.
Yeah, once you actually start working in the industry, it's not nearly as glamorous as as you think it is looking from the outside in.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine like on something like One Piece where like, it's like they there's a new episode out every single week, and like, this like there's like little room for error, and like, like I said, the collaborative effort and just making sure that everybody's on the same page with everything. Like, I can only imagine how crazy it is now compared to like how it was before. Like on One Piece specifically, the production quality on the show has gone leaps and bounds from like when it was first on in like early 2000s and everything. That's because they've got better directors. They've got like they've gotten smarter with how they've been compositing their shots, and like they're doing some creative and like a smart outsourcing to like other studios outside of Japan. So like, I know the Philippines, I know obviously they're always gonna go to Korea as well, but like I've been seeing like some Filipino studios, and like I want to say, oh God, what's the other country that they were using it in? India, maybe?
India.
Yeah,
India.
Yes.
There's a lot of animations in India as well. Yeah,
But yeah, I'm like, I remember showing like one of the more recent episodes to a friend and be like, "What is this, a movie?" I was like, "Nah, bro, this is a show now."
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know it's on One Piece. Like I showed him like one of the more recent episodes of a One Piece, and it's just that like it was so completely different from the last time they had actually seen One Piece, and like they couldn't believe it was the same show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, I noticed it. It changed a lot. And the thing about the show is when I was trying it out, they have a different timings compared to Western animation. Uh, they use a lot of breakdowns,
Yes.
and yeah, it's not completely in between as you may expect. And I found myself reposing a lot of stuff that I'm in betweening because it got fixed up. I don't know if how that's how you call it as well.
It would be that would probably be the cleanup animator handling that. But like so like you were doing key poses. Was your job doing key poses or in betweens?
In betweens.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's harder to in between compared to cleanup.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll be straight with you. Like for a cleanup artist, in some cases, if the animators and the in between people, did a bang up job, you would basically be a glorified tracer or inker for that stuff. But if the schedule's gotten crazy and like this stuff just has to get like pushed down the production pipeline, the cleanup animator or cleanup artist might end up basically becoming redoing a lot of the work that the key pose and the in-betweener was supposed to do. Like that happened on Skullgirls a few times too, where like the rough drawings I had for the sprites, it like looked like the character's ugly sister that I had to give a makeover to before they got sent to the game engine.
Yeah, and you also have to improvise at when that happens, right? Like, you know, you have to stay consistent with the model, and the
Yes.
poses sometimes don't really work as they animated it, and then when it got to you, it's ugly. You
Yeah.
have to fix the pose as well.
Yeah. Well,
that happens.
And in all honesty, like I don't know how it is on the actual studio for a studio like Toei, but in my personal experience, I found that like Obviously, yeah, the animators should know how to draw the characters, but like their most important job is like, getting the general form and the motions right. Whereas when it gets to the cleanup department, like it'll be their job to make sure that the character looks the way that they should be looking.
Yeah, and the well in One Piece's case, all their key poses are really good.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah, they are really clean, and there's almost no corrections. We're almost tracing the key poses for cleanup. The in betweener, yeah, that's a different story. It's
Oh
much
yeah.
harder when it comes to anime. I believe in general, cleanup is much easier compared to in betweening.
Yeah, yeah, I will absolutely agree with that.
Because Japanese people are very, meticulous with their work, and you know them, they have incredible work ethic, and
Sometimes to their detriment.
yeah, yeah, to the detriment, yeah. So you have a lot of experience with animation studio.
Well,
So
I've had one with I've had experience like working as like a I've worked with some studios, but not at the studios directly. Usually as like a contractor, um, for some of the stuff that they've done, and like I want to say the Adult Swim stuff was probably the highest profile cartoon studio that I had worked with. And even then, like the things that we had did, like they were just small little spots. It was never on like the one of their like mainline shows. Like I did clean up on a a music video for Rick and Morty that had a Run the Jewels song on it, but like it was a small, I don't know if the studio's even around anymore, but like it was a small like animation like delivery, I guess a delivery studio is the best way I can call it. But like we did good work, but they did the work that they did was on the cheap, like super, like almost like comedically on the cheap. So when we eventually did get paid for the work that we did, it was in hindsight kind of peanuts, but at the time it was just that, like I could say, hey, I freaking did something on Rick and Morty. What did you do with your life today? But that was that. But yeah, the majority of the work that I've done has actually been on games, but I've had like maybe one or two instances where I can say that, like, hey, I did something for like in a roundabout way, I did something for X for X TV show and whatnot.
mm-hmm.
But and again, like I was in a forced out situation where I was able to do that remotely at home and not have to upend my life to wherever that studio was for what would be like a super short term gig.
Yeah, that would suck. I mean, like like if you have to move just to work on that studio, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people do it. Like a lot of folks, they get out. A lot of young artists, they get out of school, and they're ready to upend their life and move to like Burbank, California, or Austin, Texas, or hell, even like the Philippines to work on like their dream show or just like work in the animation industry. But I mean, like every animation job is like gig work unless like your studio has got like a long list of clients or like a nice ongoing show that has got constant funding and they're guaranteed like long-term work. But like that's just not how the business is run, especially not right now. So like it's I'm grateful that the internet exists and that people, they can still work in the industry if they want to work in the industry, but on their own terms if they know how to market themselves and their work, or they could just do their own thing and just like forego all of that all in general.
Yeah. So speaking of online stuff,
Yes.
how did you get started with Purple Mantis?
Like, just doing the NSFW work in general, or just with like just trying to draw for a living.
Yeah, yeah, the NSFW stuff,
Okay, yeah,
everything.
okay, yeah, I get to that. Yeah, so, um, I think it generally started like shortly after I had gotten out of art school. I was working as a night auditor at like the hotel in my college town while I was still trying to find a way to get out of my college town, and I don't know when it happened. I don't know what the impetus was, but like like you do, you go to like some websites and you see some stuff that people are doing and be like, I mean, I could probably do this. I got access to the same tools that these people do, and I so I just like I just experimented with a few things, trying to develop summon up the nerve to like draw a naked titty for once, but like yeah. And like
Yep, yep.
yeah, and I did a couple of still images, and then like I taught myself how to use the animation software that I had access to at the time, and like I made a couple of gifs here and there, and like I experimented with a few things, found like programs that work, found like little workflows that work, and like I slowly started putting stuff out there, and then just one random day, I went on to good old Hentai Foundry and said, hey, if you guys are willing, like I'll do like a short little flash animation for you. And that was the instance where my very first person who reached out to me was like, hey, how do you feel about Fuda? And it was just like, what's that? And it just kept going from there.
Oh, so you actually self-taught yourself animation.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I went to school for well, at one point I wanted to go into 3D animation, but like the school that I was in, our class was the last one that got taught a little bit of everything. We got an intro to 3D stuff, and we got a little intro into 2D, and just basically as you got further into the program, they said that okay, you pick what direction you want to go in, and I went into a little bit of I ended up going into 3D just because I figured that I wasn't confident in my ability to do 2D animation, and at the time I'm still not, which is why like I do After Effects puppets and tweening animation, and I rig stuff. So like now I'm at a point where like it's a weird hybrid of the stuff I learned in 3D and the stuff that I learned in 2D. But yeah, I was at a position where like they were teaching us to be jacks of all trades, but not necessarily being masters of any particular things. So like I kind of had to fend for myself to a certain degree, and just pick stuff up as I went.
Well, that's interesting because I actually wanted to learn some stuff, but I didn't actually mastered anything because yeah, much I was more better off with 2D. Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, now I every so often I look into like how the 3D animation space is looking these days, and like it's I don't even recognize it from what I had learned back at school.
Oh, it's different now?
Well, the programs that folks are like what is it? I forget what it's called now. Like, but like Alias and Maya 3D Max and Blender, they were all like completely different back when I was in school. And when I was using it, and like Blender wasn't even like on anybody's radar as far as like being a tool to be used, and now like it's like the preferred go-to tool for like a lot of indie artists, simply on the fact that it's being free, and the fact that like it's in some cases it does things better than Maya and I guess Max, or at the time 3D Studio Max is doing. Like, I keep trying to get my trying to find time to actually try to pick it up and like learn a few things with it. Like, I don't know what I would use it for, but I feel like it'd be a good skill set to have. Because I'm seeing like these freaking these Blender animators who are going in there and like doing like either their own, a few are doing their own original things, but the majority of them are just like pulling out like ripping models from from video games and like animating it there, like everybody's using the same like Widowmaker and Mercy models from Overwatch for their stuff. So it's like hard. Yeah, so it's hard to find. It's hard to like figure out who's who if they don't put their watermark on their video.
Yeah, they're like clones.
Yes.
Sorry about my throat. I ate chocolate.
Oh, no, it's okay. Oh, you're good. Yeah, you're good. You're
good. So how did you get into furry stuff?
Literally, it was literally the first commissioners who reached out to me.
Oh, okay.
It's just it was mostly because I was an oddity in the fact that like I was an animator who was available, and I wasn't for a while. I wasn't terribly picky about too much of the stuff that I got that I was doing, but like after being open to stuff, I developed. Like I learned what I didn't. I learned pretty quickly what I wasn't comfortable animating. So I had to like have a big post of what I will and will not animate up shortly after I started doing that stuff commissions on a semi-regular basis.
I see, but you're not really into furry, are you?
I am not.
Did you have?
I don't identify as a furry, but I do appreciate good furry art. Like, I mean, I remember having a conversation with a roommate of mine in college. Is that like we saw there were two images side by side, or rather three images. It was a woman in like a nice seductive pose, and then another one was like it was like an anime style version of that exact same pose, but obviously it wasn't a real person. And then the third one, the exact same pose, but like it was a curvy fox character. And we found all three of those images attractive. It's still the female form. It's still hitting all the the things in the male brain that it would hit. It's just that like one of them has got larger eyes than the other ones, and the other one has got a tail. But I mean, like if it's a good drawing, it's a good drawing.
I see. So yeah, I met some people that actually dislike furry, and there's people that only likes real person.
Well, yeah, I mean it's different strokes for different folks. I mean, like at the end of the day, it's like we're not that different. It's just like it's just cosmetic is one preference towards one set of cosmetics versus the other.
Yeah, I guess we can say that for furry people are more open-minded with the idea of anthropomorphic creatures, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, like there's an entire generation of people who the thing that turned them was Robin Hood and Maid Marian from that old Disney film.
Yeah, I think it's Disney's fault when they introduced this Mickey Mouse, Donald Ducks, and Tom and Jerry as well.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers. It's their fault.
Yeah. And if you've ever seen it's a YouTuber, it's an animation YouTuber named Saber Spark. He does reviews of a lot of animation and stuff like that. And I remember him saying in one of his videos that part of the appeal of anthropomorphic characters is the fact that because they are animals with identifiable traits, and whatnot is like, and not necessarily like real like it's in some cases it's easier for people to like relate to those characters because you'd rarely ever see an instance where like this this lion is like has got identifies as this particular religious type, or like they say that like they're from this particular part of the world or whatever. It's just that this is a fantasy creature and you focus more on their personality just because other than the fact that because what else have they got going for them, and that's what that's what helps, and that in itself is led to them being more having more universal appeal than like you would say a human character. I think that actually, you know what? That's why I think that something like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has lasted for as long as it has, because obviously, you and I don't necessarily look like bipedal turtle men. But we focus on the characters and their personalities and their interactions with one another, and that's what like helps you connect with them. And I think that maybe there may be something to that as in regards to the furry community.
Yeah, I think the old studios, the big ones, really influence us because it started when we were really young. Like we've been indoctrinated to it,
Yeah.
and I think it also made us more compassionate with animals for some reason.
I think I'd agree with
You
that too.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, because back then we we hunt them. We don't really care about animals. For them, we see them as food. So yeah, once they got introduced to us as a lovable characters, we got hooked into them, and now people are addicted to animals.
Oh yeah.
They like to pet everything, and they treat it like a family member now.
Oh yeah. I'd love to see. I want to say like what maybe 10, 15 years from now, the a younger generation that like their Robin Hood was like a Zootopia or something like that. I'd like to see like how they end up developing going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that we started from eating and destroying their habitats, and yeah, and now we take it we take them to our home, we take them home,
Hmm.
and then we breed them actually, and they actually evolved as well. Like the dogs from the past in the early 1950s, they look different from dogs today.
Oh yeah,
They like
just the
they
years of crossbreeding and all that.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me to see the changes, and the human behavior has changed as well. All because we saw a mouse on the big screen
Oh yeah.
talking.
Hmm. And yeah, hold on one second. I need to grab a bottle of water.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, so while you were away, I was thinking, I wonder if Walt actually loves animals so much that he created that character.
I don't know, maybe. I know
Was
that
it
but like Mickey was, from what I understand, Mickey wasn't his first character. Like his first character was Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. If you ever saw him.
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't
Oh well, yeah.
remember that.
If you get a chance, like a look up Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, there was like a whole thing around the ownership of that character, and he actually ended up creating Mickey as like just kind of a as kind of a replacement because of like because this is of it's. I'd have to look up the specifics behind it, but like he eventually got like they eventually got the rights to that character back, but for the longest time, like Oswald was just kind of like his redheaded orphan son, and like Mickey was just kind of his replacement character. But yeah, to come back to it, I'm sure that like Walt was probably a huge animal lover, or at least at the very least, I think he may have had a dog at some point.
Mm. Yeah, still, it's an animal that he made a character,
Oh yeah.
and uh, hold on, let me gather my thoughts. Yeah. Um, what do you think of Disney now?
They're in
I mean,
they're in an awkward place.
that there's yeah, we people used to love them now, but now I don't know.
They're in an awkward
Let's
place
talk
in
about
general.
Disney.
Yep. Yeah, they're in an awkward place right now. I actually had a friend who was she used to work on the show Star versus the Forces of Evil. She was like she was an environment and a prop designer, if I remember correctly. She had an okay experience there, but like I remember hearing stories of people who also had worked for Disney Animation specifically, who had like some not so great things to say about the company. But like, and this has happened with them before. Like, the company has had its ups and downs, especially like over in their animation department. I remember there was a period during the 80s where like, they had the 80s where like they were just having a rough time with it. Like they the movie The Black Cauldron, apparently like that was a huge bomb for them, but like they were kind of slumming it on a few movies for a couple of films prior to that. But like but then when The Little Mermaid came out, they were suddenly back on their feet again, and it was just like banger after banger after banger for them. And then but then they got to a point in the mid 2000 in like the late 90s to early 2000s when 3D started becoming a thing, and like they weren't like they were putting less and less effort on their 2D stuff. And then there was another dark period, but then they started like they pulled in Pixar, and then they started making their own, and then their own 3D output started getting halfway decent, and then things were cool again. But now we're here, and we're in a weird place. But I mean, like, they had it's weird things happening to them, like as far back as like the 40s and 50s and 60s, where like they put Snow White out. That was their very first and their first full length animated feature that nobody believed in, but like they showed them. And then next couple of movies they made after that were pretty good, but then they had some kind of diminishing returns. Like I want to say Pinocchio. Like we look back on Pinocchio, and like and a lot of people like hold it in high regard, but like at the time I want to say that it didn't do crazy gangbusters in the box office. And then I don't remember if it was World War I or World War II, but like around that time they outside events in the world had like basically fucked up their working conditions, like because like a lot of their animators got drafted, and they weren't making like they weren't making feature-length animated movies like that at the time, and a lot of the stuff that they were doing were shorts and some things that had been, and like some government-funded like either pro-war shorts, or like I remember the case of oh god, what was the name of it? It was The Three Caballeros. Did you ever see that movie? It was the one with Donald Duck and it was the two other birds from who were both happened to be from South America.
No.
Okay.
No. I don't.
Okay, so I remember it was
Although I saw some Disney Works, which is outright pro-war
Yeah.
propaganda,
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
like
it
the
was still in black and white, I think.
yes.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah, like
remember that.
but yeah, Three Caballeros, Saludos, Amigos, and something else. Those were funded by the American government at the time as a way to encourage people to travel to Puerto Rico and some other Latin American countries that like the U.S. had just like brought in. Yeah, it was encouraged. It was basically they paid the animators to fly to Brazil and other parts of South America so that they could do research and like put together these shorts to encourage people, Americans, to do the same. And like I didn't realize, and I found out that like like one of my favorite like movie / shorts, because Donald Duck was in it and Donald Duck was my boy, but I found out that was just basically edutainment / propaganda movie that was made at the time there. It's like I just realized, oh wait, yeah, there's this like 3-minute sequence where they're just singing about how great the country of Bahia is. I'm just like, oh, all right. I mean, it does look pretty, but I'm not going to fly there anytime soon. But yeah, but yeah, that was just like a roundabout way of just saying that the studio's been through some stuff, it's had a lot of ups and downs and everything, and this is another. They're going through another like weird patch right now, but there are different factors that are affecting it and whatnot. But it's a. I don't know. I'd like to think that just like in the past, they'll be able to read the room and just learn from their mistakes and try to come back from it better. But obviously, it's much more of a giant business now than it was back in the hell, even as back as the early 2000s. It's just. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I just want them to go back to making cartoons again, man.
Yeah, it's sad to see such a good studio went in a different direction. Yeah, I was actually rooting for them when around early 2000s, and then Netflix came.
Yeah, Netflix. Netflix had a hand in how a lot of people do business now, and. I know that everybody was just like, hey, yeah, we could make our own streaming service. Why not? And well, there's a reason why not. And not everybody is going to be able to make enough content to sustain the justify the existence of your streaming content of your streaming platform, and not everybody has got the money to keep to keep funding that stuff. And a lot of, at least in Disney's case, I mean, there have been some people who are saying that they've been going for more quantity over quality, and it's showing in some aspects of it. But
Yeah,
some good stuff has
I
come.
don't know.
Some good stuff has come out of it. Now, don't get me wrong, but as a whole, I think that they would have been better off just licensing some stuff to Netflix and then keep doing what they were doing, because I say that Disney Plus has been affecting other parts of, the inconsistency of Disney Plus's success has been affecting other parts of the company.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks because when Netflix came out, they had some Marvel series there, like Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and Iron Fist. I really like those shows, and then when Disney decided to compete, they pulled it out on Netflix, and I don't have access to Marvel shows anymore.
Yeah,
it kind of sucks.
It does, and yeah, it just sucks. I haven't got any other way around it. It just sucks. But no, it's but it's also the fact that some of the things that I do legitimately like of theirs, it's there on the streaming platforms, but it's just there on the streaming platforms. Like I can't buy it on DVD or anything like that. Like have you ever seen that animated film Klaus on Netflix?
Klaus?
Klaus, yes, Klaus. It's a Christmas movie. It's basically like the secret origin of Santa Claus, basically.
No, I don't think we have it here in our region.
Oh,
No, I didn't saw that.
if you find a way to watch
Maybe
it, yeah, if you find a way to watch it, I would highly recommend it. It's actually the director of it is one of the guys who created Despicable Me and the Minions, but like it's a 2D it's a 2D movie and it's just gorgeous, and it should have won an Academy Award, but like all the people on the judges saw Toy Story 4 and gave it to that instead. They were just like, "Oh, this isn't a Disney movie. We're not going to give that to them." But like it was, I'm still salty about that to this day. But no, everybody needs to see that movie. It's great.
I see. Thank you for the recommendation. I guess I will need to use a VPN
Oh yeah,
to see it. Is it still on Netflix?
yeah. Netflix funded it. Like it. Like I think that's part. I think that's part of the reason why it hasn't been put out on DVD yet. Is that like Netflix tries to keep a lot of its stuff close to the chest and like giving people a reason to be on the on their service as opposed to anything else. But yeah, if you like, yeah, every couple of months I go online to see if like Klaus got put on DVD, and still as of right now it still isn't available. But yeah, but yeah, it was a Netflix exclusive, and like Netflix paid to have it made for their platform specifically. But also like some of the behind the scenes stuff of that is also interesting too, because when you look at it, some people had some people actually thought that it was a 3D movie, but no, but like there are some 3D elements in like some of the props and whatnot, but was drawn by hand. It was all like done frame by frame and everything, but the way that they composited it and colored it and shaded it made it look like the figures themselves were actually done in 3D. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can't actually find the trailer for that on YouTube, and just drop that link in the chat there. You can see it. But like so let's see, Klaus trailer. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, 4 years ago. Yeah. I will do. Yeah, that one.
That looks like Disney animation.
Oh yeah, I mean, like it was the guys who were doing it. Like a lot of them were like trained. A lot of them were like trained and like I'm sure like obviously like they did a lot. Their pedigree was a lot of with some 3D films and whatnot. But like a lot of like the old heads who were like working in the 3D industry now, like they came from like traditional animation backgrounds, whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, there's a studio here in the Philippines. They are exclusively making 3D animations.
Mm-hmm.
The first requirement is if you actually work in 2D animation, they won't accept applicants that never had an experience in 2D.
That's good.
Yeah, because they are very strict with their quality, and they want to make sure that the animators have knows all the principles and nuances when it comes to animation. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. But yeah, that other video that was basically showing how they went and got that pseudo 3D look while still like working with like flat 2D images. So like that is like every so often I go back and look at that and see it's like something like that could be done with the software that I typically use for stuff, but it would be a whole lot of work, and I don't know if my computer could actually render all of that. Like a lot of that is like a custom made software that they use to produce that.
Yeah, that's very very interesting because there's two panels here
Mm-hmm.
where the w- the w- the left one is flat colored, and
Mm-hmm.
then the second panel is it's almost cell shaded.
Yeah, just like it's a whole lot of creative masking with that.
Man, that
And just
this
imagine
must
doing
be
that
really
imagine doing that on a frame by frame basis, because this is still like, animated on like ones and twos, because it's a feature animated like it's all animated on ones because it's a feature animation. So like it is, woof, those guys are built. Those guys at that studio were just built different.
Yep. It's like they their whole life is about
Apologies to
animating.
apologies to the audio listener. Like, we're talking about stuff that's in the Discord chat that you can't see. But look up Klaus on Netflix, Klaus on YouTube, and like it'll all make sense immediately. That's Klaus with a K.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to find the country and use a VPN where it's available. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of Netflix, there's One Piece. What do you think of it?
It shouldn't have worked. It really shouldn't have worked, but they somehow made it happen.
I was really surprised with the show. I have low expectation actually.
Same.
But man, yeah, Luffy really nailed the character.
It did. Like, the actor's accent, initially I thought it would throw me off, but for some reason, like, the cadence of the way that he spoke actually added like an interesting twist to the character that, like, actually ended up being charming, like, pretty quickly to me.
Yeah, and Zoro as well.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, like the casting across the
pretty
board.
badass.
Yeah, the casting across the board was just fantastic. And like the character that I was worried about the most was Arlong. The big purple fish guy.
Oh yeah, he's very tall.
Yeah, but yeah, he is probably one of my favorite bad guys in the show, just because when they got to that part of the original anime, that was when I was hooked with the anime, because like, before it was like, yeah, we're going to these different islands and like, there's a problem and we can solve the problem by beating up the pirates that are like, making the bad things happen. But then when you got to that part, you really got to see, I mean, it was character development for Nami. You got a peek at just how big the world was, and just as a character concept, like he's a racist fish man. Who comes up with that?
Yeah.
So the character, and I say that, and I'm looking over at my Arlong statue on my shelf right now, but like, that right there just let me that was a testament to just how strong One Piece is as a series, and the fact that like and it's something that I always told like my art students too. There's no such thing as a bad idea. It's just all about how you execute it.
Yeah. You produce a good product.
Yes. And I guess that the fact that they were able to like, translate that from, it got translated from like, a comic book into a cartoon into like, something in live action, which again, it was very expensive to do, but like it made it work for them. So I think it said like it was like $1.2 million an episode or something like that.
Yep.
I think something along those lines. And I don't envy them, because going forward, like, you've got characters like Brook and Chopper, you've got giants, you've got more fish people, you've got Big Mom. They have to figure out Big Mom at some point.
Yeah, kaiju as well.
Yes, yeah. But I keep telling them like if like the one thing they could do to just make their lives easier, just make Chopper a Muppet. Just call up the Jim Henson studio and have them make Chopper a Muppet, and that'll I think that would make their life a little bit easier as opposed to having to figure out how to make that work in CG. But I don't know.
I mean, they can call the guys from Sonic.
Yeah, I could work, but actually, I don't know what would be more expensive if they did it in CG or if they used practical effects for that one. But I don't know. That's not. I know, they got their work cut out for them going forward.
Well, the problem with practical effects is you need to maintain it,
Yes.
right? Because if you have a main character that's you're gonna use to film, yeah, you have to maintain the whole thing, and sometimes it gets damaged with over time, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, and yeah, I really like the show, and I'm looking forward with the next season. I hope they did do well, but
Yeah, it's supposedly
yeah.
broke. Well, I think it broke a record somewhere. Don't quote me on that, but it did something. It set a couple of milestones for Netflix that they hadn't been able to reach before. So they're all in on it now at this point.
Yeah, I'm also stuck with this Avatar, The
Oh,
Last Airbender
that
live
one.
action.
Oh, that one.
Did you see the trailer?
That one I'm scared for because the original creators of the animated series, DeSantos and DiMartino and I forget the other guy's last name, but they actually walked out on that production a good while ago, and they said that whatever the thing that you see on Netflix is not going to be their vision. That was their quote. So I'm scared. Probably more scared than I was than from the last Airbender movie.
Oh, really?
Oh,
When
yeah.
is that?
Oh no,
When was that?
this was a while ago. Let me see. Let me use Google again. Avatar creators leave Netflix. Let me see what pops up there. Okay, yeah. Just the first little thing on Google. The creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender have departed a live-action Netflix show based on their animated series. Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, that was his last name. Brian Konietzko said in separate statements Wednesday that they came to believe their creative vision for the show wasn't being supportive. This was back in August of 2020.
Oh, that's 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yes.
yeah,
They
I
walked.
guess
Yeah,
it could.
they walked away from it 3 years ago. But Netflix is still making it, just not with them.
Oh, it's possible that it gets cancelled
Uh,
before it getting been aired.
well, I mean, You said they showed the trailer for it, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw a trailer of it,
Okay.
and all they also had the castings, and it was really good
Yeah, the actors.
trailer.
I will say that I remember seeing pictures of the actors, and they look great. The actors look great, But we we don't know how the story's going to go yet.
Yeah, I was hoping it could be another One Piece hit, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm rooting for Netflix compared to Disney right now because Netflix has a lot of variety when it comes to shows. So yeah, I think Disney is stuck with their own bubble,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, Netflix. I'm actually in a weird place with too, because like, um, just before, I want to say either around the time that lockdown happened or just before, Netflix was like being held up as like, this is where people should go, where independent animators should go to have their projects made. This is Netflix is going to be the future of animation and all that. And like they opened up a brand new studio just to do animation and everything. But now, like, a lot of shows got canceled. A lot of shows got removed from the platform. And it's just that like stuff that got greenlit is not happening anymore too. There was what was it? There was supposed to be an animated series based around the comic Bone. I don't know if you ever read. I don't know if you ever got that comic in the Philippines.
Bone. I think I heard of it.
Yeah.
I just don't remember everything.
Right. But yeah, it was just like it was like it was like it was like a well loved like comic series at least over here in America, and like but it had never been made into a couple of a video game or two, but like it never had like a proper animated adaptation, and like people were people like the people were myself included were really excited to see that happen, but like but Netflix pulled the plug on it.
Mm.
Yeah. So
So you watch Netflix a lot?
not a ton. Well, when I have time to, like, there might be something that I try to catch up on. Like I was watching. I binged all of the newest Ninja Turtle show. And I am trying to catch up on the anime Bastard. Like that one was exclusively on Netflix, and like I think they just if they didn't just end season 2, I think that like I don't know, like season 2 might be over with, and I think that they are. Yeah, I don't even know if they're in the third season or not, but I know that like I never finished season 1, but like season 2 is probably come and gone already. But like I really liked that, like, and that one that was based off of an old Shonen Jump manga from the 90s. I think that it was previously just an OAV, but like from what I had saw of it, like I loved it. It was like a dark fantasy, a violent gritty dark fantasy thing. But hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you there? Yeah, I heard some garbled noises for a second. Yeah, but there were a lot of projects that Netflix had funded that I was all for, but like again, I haven't seen all of it. But like it's probably like maybe like every couple of months there might be just like this one show that they put out that like I follow. Like I feel like my parents use my Netflix subscription more than I do.
So you're living with your parents?
I was for a couple of years, but like I moved in with my girlfriend not that long ago.
Where do you think our work will be in the future? What will happen to it?
I think that there'll still be a place for it. I mean, like obviously with the nature of the fact that like it is like it's filthy cartoons on the internet. Like I don't think that like there's going to be a mainstream appeal for that on the level of something like something like like what Disney does. But I think it's also because I feel like the stuff that we do has got like probably a little bit more of a personal touch to it, and obviously, like we still own this for the most part. We still own the stuff that we do, and we have control over it, where it goes. And like, I feel like there's a this current generation of people who like use the internet. Like they might, some of them might still find that stuff more appealing than some of the other like stuff that is readily available to them. And like if I feel like, and I always tell people like there's an audience for just about everything. It's just a fact of like. Matter of you finding that audience and connecting with them. Like obviously we've just got to put the work in to like put it out there.
What's your strategy for that?
Just keep making stuff, keep putting it out there on as many places as I can, and just try to get as many eyes on it as possible through whatever means necessary. You know, the whatever methods I'm using today might change in like 3 years, depending on like, you know, how the internet changes and like, you know, how the platforms that we're currently using either evolve or devolve. And, you know, if that doesn't work, you know, again, just make your own website and just try to bring people to it.
Yeah, I think people are starting to move to VR and streaming.
Mm.
What do you think of it?
Well, actually, well, another one of my side jobs is that like I'm a I'm a demonstrator for a virtual reality headsets for some places, and like VR is I wouldn't be worried about virtual reality as a competing source of entertainment, at least as it is right now, because one, the hardware is still prohibitively expensive for most people, and the experiences as you can get through it is like, it might be a nice little quick thing here or there, but like it's not something. There's nothing out there that would bring people that would force somebody to go, oh well, I'm off of work, gonna hop into my headset and do something or watch this and that or whatnot. Like a lot of people thought that Half-Life Alyx was going to be the thing that like, you know, brought virtual reality into the mainstream, but it didn't. And like a lot of the experiences that like, you know, I showed to people now who like had never touched virtual reality before. This is stuff that's like 6 years old at this point. Like I still show Beat Saber to people who had never touched that before, and like, you know, Beat Saber is almost as old as like consumer grade VR technology is itself.
Yeah, so you have it right.
I say again, do I have VR?
Yeah. Do you have VR?
Oh, I have one that is on loan from the company that I work for. Like I haven't actually bought one myself. I mean, that in itself is probably a testament to how well that stuff has been how well that stuff has been accepted to the Main Street audience. Like it's my job to show how cool it is to people, but like I've never actually purchased any of the equipment with my own money.
Okay, so basically you actually tested it and you know how it works, right?
I know. Yeah, the HTC Vives and the MetaQuest headsets. I'm familiar with how they work, but I'm also familiar with like some of the limitations that they have as well. And like it's usually those limitations, and again, like, you know, the high price of it. That's like, you know, usually the barrier to entry for the average person.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I guess the long and short of that is that like, at least in terms of virtual reality, I wouldn't worry about that. And with streaming stuff, that's definitely going to change in a couple of years. Like I think that Netflix and Disney Plus might probably still be around, but a couple of these other smaller streaming services, they probably won't last going forward.
Yeah, the big ones will keep getting bigger and bigger, and the small ones will fade into obscurity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's because like, you know, the average person, you know, like, you know, they only make so much money, and like, you know, they can't justify paying like 6 different subscriptions for 6 different streaming services. You know, that's why you've seen like a lot of the stuff get consolidated and everything. Like I think, what was it, Warner Brothers for a while, they had their HBO, and then they had oh god, well, they had HBO, and I think they had like a separate streaming services for like just their superhero stuff. But that superhero stuff eventually got folded into HBO, and then into the HBO streaming program. And I think that like what is it? They merged with the Discovery networks, like, you know, Discovery Channel, HGTV, and all that. And now all of that, and now Discovery had its own streaming platform, but now that's dead. And then the stuff that was on that program is now mixed in with the HBO which it's not called HBO Max, it's just called Max now, and that is just now a consolidation of all their their DC superhero stuff, their HBO stuff, and the Discovery Network stuff. So like that's just a just kind of an indication of how things are going to go going forward. I think like they were consolidating their stuff just to try to save money because it was being spent way too much.
Yeah, it's like they overexpanded and it didn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to
I
me,
wonder.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I wonder if there will be a website similar to this Netflix and Disney Plus, which is dedicated to not safe for work stuff.
Well, if it's not there, like someone's got to build it.
Yeah, I think there was a YouTuber uh, uh, called Redhead Redemption who had an idea that she was a former porn star and she had the big business background and she she embarked on this development of a website which she will stream the porn stars movies there exclusively and of course I think that was years ago and I don't know if she actually delivered on that. I believe.
Well, yeah, that's in. I think the tricky thing for that would be like finding because I mean the average person does in modern day doesn't want to pay for porn if they can avoid it. But like, yeah, I think the tricky part for that would be aside, first off getting the content, but then also trying to find a sustainable business model to keep it up and going. Like I know that, like how even what is it, the Rule 34, like they still have banner ads and like ads for ChatterBait and Brazzers right, but before their videos and stuff like that. So it's so like if she has a business background, like she can probably figure it out. But like that would in my mind that would be the first thing that I'm curious about is a bit like like how are things going to get paid for? Like who's gonna pay for these servers? Who's gonna pay for like the bandwidth, and like who's going to pay the artists and animators to actually have them like put the content on there?
Yeah, I was actually wondering because lately I've checked out his channel. She's no longer talking about it. I believe the project was put down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be really difficult to make it work.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be awesome if we have something like that.
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Just the logistics would be the hard part.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar to Billy.
Ah.
The streaming anime platform.
Oh yeah, I've watched Billy. I've seen some stuff on there.
Yeah, they have free shows there, and some shows are on the premium side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like some shows the episodes are free on a few episodes, and then if you want to continue, you need to be a premium member, something like that.
Oh yeah, I know that. What is it? Like, Amazon does that for a couple of their shows. And I know that a few premium channels, their apps have got that. Their streaming apps have got that available.
Yeah, that would be nice for not safe for work stuff as well. I guess that business model would do well, I think.
It could potentially.
Yeah, I wonder if we can find the next Elon Musk for that.
Holy.
I'm praying. I'm really hoping for that to happen.
Stranger things have happened.
Yep. You know, I'm looking back when I was younger. It's like everything I dreamed of when I was younger, it came true today. And who knows, maybe 10 years from now, we have a platform just for us, not say for work.
Hmm.
Artist.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I'm. Where do you see yourself in the future?
Honestly, I don't know. I just wherever I'm at, I'm just hoping that like I'm in a position where I can just keep making stuff and like just putting it out there for people, and hopefully I'll be able to make a living off of it. Like that's the goal, at least. But as I've said,
Yeah,
stranger things had happened, and like it's like I certainly like what 10, 15 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that like I would have been paying my bills by by drawing cartoon butts in people's faces.
yeah. People like this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good you are, as long as you're active and you're friendly with your audience, you'll get a loyal following for sure.
Oh yeah.
Although, yeah, you need to be consistent and very. You need to persevere with the workflow and the schedule.
And yeah,
You need to decide.
that's my problem now is that like I am consistent in my inconsistency as far as like getting stuff getting stuff out on a regular basis. Like I was doing it like I think I had started doing this like in earnest like probably around 2012 or 2013. But like around 2016, I had gotten a office job at like at a tech company that made websites for car dealerships, and like that dropped my my productivity for art like down to almost like nothing, 10% of what it was beforehand. And I feel like I probably like if that job, I mean obviously I'm not at that job anymore, but I feel that if I always wonder what would have happened if like during that period like I had just stuck with it and just like gone in like whole hog, like what type of audience I might have cultivated by this point. Not it's nothing against the audience I have now. It's bigger than it was back then, and like I love every single person that's like supported me in some way, shape, or fashion. But man, I always think about like what would have happened, if I had just been like no, let's stick with this cartoon spot. Let's see where that goes.
Yeah, you actually gambled yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for some people they are used to a structured environment where they would they would have a fixed work and fixed schedule and everything. And maybe we're just the odd ones that don't uh, agree to that arrangement.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Perhaps we have some problem with authority as well because we are breaking the rules,
I would
the
say
norms.
if I did have a problem with authority, it would be that like not necessarily have an issue with the rules. It's just that like I probably it's just that I would probably just I think it's because I like doing my own thing too much, maybe.
Yeah. So how did you end up with Purple Mantis, like the character?
Well,
Uh,
the name Purple Mantis, like that was initially just me like trying to find like, a unique internet moniker that was different from what everybody else had. And I mean, I've always liked bugs, and I think that like from my experience dealing with the furries, like, I never really see I always see foxes, dogs, cats, and dragons and stuff like that, but like I rarely ever saw like arthropods or anything represented. And I always thought that praying mantises were like, the ninjas of the insect world, so I kind of leaned towards that. And I just kept that moniker, and then like when I discovered I guess after the VTuber boom and like people started creating like, the tools to create like have animated or semi-animated avatars available, I guess that like, well, let's see if I can't like try to make something happen with that. And like, obviously I have like, my OCs and everything, but like, I never had anything that I thought was like, represented me. And I just when I found like this little the Toon Tuber setup that Scott Falco had put together using OBS and like a couple other plugins, I was just doodling stuff, and like I ended up with like this thing that it was originally supposed to be like is an insect person, but it was supposed to be like the comedian Cat Williams if he was a bug man. But a lot of people, I had one person tell me that it looked like did you ever watch the Brack show on Adult Swim?
no.
Okay. Well, basically there are two characters on there. There's a father and a asshole mantis man, which from the old Space Ghost show. And I've had some people tell me that it looks like those two characters like kind of mated and had a kid. And I was just like, well, okay, I got it. Actually, hold on. I can show you I'll show you some images here. Dead Brack show. And this was a complete accident that like I wasn't even thinking about. So like, yeah, so my character ended up I unknowingly ended up making a fusion of the character on the far left and the character on the far right. And so for so for the audience listening, like I just showed him a cover, the Amazon Prime promo art for the Brack show, for anybody that remembers that program. And basically I had said that Mike, what you're looking at right here is probably like an unholy fusion of Brack's dad and Zorak.
Mm. Yeah, you draw this yourself, right?
Yes.
Wow. I'm blown away with uh the Mantis idea though, because I saw how they mate. It's
Yes.
pretty brutal.
That's
pretty brutal.
I mean, that's how.
Yeah,
For whatever reason, that's what nature thought was a good idea.
like yeah, you get laid. The male gets laid with the female,
Mhm.
and then after the mating, the male gets eaten by the female. That's pretty.
Okay. So what's worse? So what's worse? There's that, but also with honeybees, when they mate, basically, at least for the guy, his whole lower half gets ripped off because like he's inside the female, but like as like the eggs are being deposited or whatever, like it's basically like his entire ass just gets ripped off, and during the process of it.
Yeah. The male becomes a vessel,
Yeah.
right? for the eggs. Ooh. It's
Yes,
gonna keep expanding till he blows up, right?
it's
It's
a
like
no,
slow
so
death.
yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, so like it's so yeah, it's rough too.
The insect world is very fascinating. Actually, the previous uh, previous guests that I interviewed before this,
Hmm.
we were talking about Holocene extinction, and we were figuring out solutions for that problem. I don't know if you're familiar with the topic.
Say it again. What was it? What was it again?
Holocene extinction.
Holocene extinction. No.
Oh yeah. So basically, it's about man-made extinction that we're causing today
Oh,
because
yeah,
of
oh yeah,
uh,
oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, well,
the
I've never known it by that term there, but yeah, the idea that we're going to be the instrument of our own undoing. Yes, that's been a thing for like decades at this point. But yes, but yeah, like in the current world, with the how fast our technology is like going forward, and like how little regard that we have towards each other as a species, as a people, and as a society and a species. But yeah, it's probably been accelerated at that point.
yeah. So we were discussing uh, how humans are destroying the animal habitats by expanding farms, getting the food supply.
Yes.
77% of the farms are used for feeding livestock.
Hmm.
So it's a really big problem. And I came up with the solution that we should start eating more bugs. We should
they're
we should farm bugs. You know.
they're chock full of protein.
Yeah, yeah, because humans are destroying the rainforest and everything because of food, right?
Yeah, we have to survive.
Yeah, so it needs to be done more efficiently. So I figured, what if we start raising insects for human consumption?
Hmm.
I think that would reduce all the carbon footprint, and also, so
Potentially.
yeah, he said it was a silver bullet
Hmm.
because, and he was open to actually eat bugs.
I mean, some places they still
I
do that. Like, there's some places where like you can get meal crickets. That like, I mean, I know that they sell them in like pet stores. For like, if you have a pet that like has like a diet that consists of insects. But like, I remember in high school, my global studies teacher, he did a lot of traveling, and like he tried like fried grilled crickets in, I believe it was in India. And like, just one day at class, he just brought up his little mini skillet. He grilled up some crickets and like put them on peanut butter with some crackers, and like offered them to us. And it wasn't bad.
Wow,
It wasn't bad.
did oh, you actually tried it?
Yeah, yeah. It tasted like kind of tasted like rice. To be honest, it kind of tasted like brown rice. To be honest.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. Because here in the Philippines, if you go to the public market, you may find grasshoppers,
Hmm.
fried fried grasshoppers, and those coconut beetles. I think I don't know what it's called. I believe it's a beetle. It's really big and it has a horn. And yeah, they sell those on the rural parts of the rural parts. Although in the city now you won't find it.
Hmm.
You have to be on the rural areas to find those dishes. Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
I think it it really resonated with him when I said, yeah, we should eat more bugs.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, although the problem with that is the marketing.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. That is like the marketing is absolutely going to be the hard part of that venture.
well, if you think about it, back then lobsters are icky. They don't people doesn't want to eat it because it's it's known to them as the cockroach of the ocean, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't sell back then. They actually used to feed it to prisoners, and now it's it's one of the most expensive dishes.
It's funny
Don't
how
you
it.
think?
Yeah, it's funny how it turned out that way. I mean,
Yeah,
as I say, it could be said with fish eggs. I don't know how I don't know how people can eat those, but like a plate of nice caviar can be pretty pricey at a nice restaurant.
yeah. I think it needs to be promoted as well as much as how they promoted those dishes back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how did it get popular. I guess there's some celebrities
Well,
that actually
I guess the people who were marketing it were just really good salesmen. They found an appealing way to get it out there to the masses, and I don't know, they made it. Maybe they convinced them that maybe this would be a social statement of you doing this or something like that.
yeah, it
That's what
has
I
to be
imagine.
social. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And yeah, it's
It is
I
socially
lost my thought.
acceptable and so it is socially acceptable and encouraged to eat these ocean roaches.
Yeah. I think it could be done the same with the insects today if really we want to produce bugs as a really viable food source, you know. And yeah, I think we're in a position today that we can even modify insects to be increase their size or improve their taste as well, right? Because of we can edit the genetics nowadays.
Yeah, we did it with chickpeas and beets. I was actually at my job, I saw them they were selling pizza dough that was made out of chickpeas, and they're they use the natural enzymes in beets to color the plant-based burgers that they sell as well.
Wow, how did it taste?
They tasted I haven't tried the chickpea pizzas before, but I have tried the plant-based burgers. I've had one where I couldn't tell the difference, but then I had a different brand where I could absolutely tell the difference. But yeah, it comes right back
So
to being about how well that thing is executed.
yeah, when was this?
Oh, this was a while ago. Like I'd had the first burger. I had actually brought it to a friend's barbecue and tried it out there. They took a lot longer to cook than regular burgers. I will say that. But yeah, the texture was similar. But obviously with the taste, you could probably well, with the taste, you probably could use with the right in the right seasoning. You could probably fool somebody who didn't know any better.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, that I mean
Yeah.
that's just a testament to that particular company. Like that, they were really good at making something that you would think could take the place of quote unquote human food. That I don't know. I imagined like a potential insect based protein magnet can make it happen.
Yeah. What do you think of insect burger? Would you
It would have to be
try
seasoned.
it?
It'd have to be seasoned really good. They would have to have some really good sauce that they marinated it in the day before. I had to give it a try. I would try.
Yeah.
I would try it once. I would try it once to at least see that.
Yeah. We can produce insect burgers, sausage, or even create a new dish out of these insects.
Well, technically, in some places we're actually already eating insects. Like I remember someone telling me that it's a pastry snack called Fig Newtons. Have you ever had one of those?
No, not yet.
Okay, so here in America, there's a snack called. I mean, let me show you a picture of them. Yeah, they're called Fig Newtons. Well, but there are also Fig Newton. Yeah, they're a type of cookie. Let's see here. Okay, copy image. Okay. For the audio listeners, I am now sending Dasky a picture of a Fig Newton. So, for these,
Oh,
so for these, they are made with figs and some and other fruits. But I found out from a friend of a friend who I guess works in the nutrition business that because of the nature of the fruits that they use in there, like sometimes you might have like actual like insects parts mixed in there just from the foraging, and there is supposedly a allowable amount of insect parts that they are allowed to have in Fig Newtons. So there's probably a good chance that like I may have unknowingly eaten like bits of like ants or wasp or something in the course of my life as I've had Fig Newtons.
oh, that's that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yes, we may have already been eating bugs and not even realizing it, depending on where we get
yeah,
our food from.
yeah. There's a rumor as well where some burgers they put larvae as a protein
Mm.
additive to burgers.
Oh.
I don't know what kind of larvae was that because they are pretty big type of worms. I believe it's fed on fish,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually they started adding it to burgers as well. The patty
Mm.
because it tastes like meat. I just don't remember that kind of larvae's name, but they said they they actually added it to some burgers, even for fast food chains like McDonald's and
I wouldn't.
whatnot.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, if it saves them money, it's cheaper than actual meat. Yeah, we're not aware with all their secret practices. Yeah, we're maybe not aware yet, but perhaps the majority of the people in the world have eaten insects already.
Oh, absolutely.
Perhaps right now they're doing it i- uh secretly. They're not announcing it to us as yet, but maybe in the future will be upfront. Here's your food,
Mm-hmm.
insects
Yeah.
and bugs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see that happening. I can absolutely see that happening. Okay. Okay. Well, it is. Not that I'm trying to rush you or anything, but like it's now about 11:30 p.m. where I am.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
was.
didn't notice the time.
Yeah.
We were having so much fun.
Oh no, no, yeah, no. This is no. I would love to come back at another time and talk about some more silly stuff. But like it is, I do have work in the morning for my outside. Well, yeah, I have work for my outside. Well, I'm gonna. I try to do a little bit of the art stuff in the morning before I head out to any whatever part-time job I'm doing that day. So yeah, so that is my first step to try to do something more consistent with my time management.
Yep. So yeah, since you're about to leave, what do you have anything to leave the audience? Where can they find you and anything? What have you?
Well, the archive site that we mentioned a couple times, that's purplemantis.net. Anytime I have a big project that is released from my Patreon and it'll get posted there first, then to all my other free galleries. But yeah, that is purplemantis.net. And speaking of my Patreon, I indeed have a Patreon, and I would love it if you guys can contribute to that if you can, but no pressure. Anything that I release on that Patreon, like after, I want to say, depending on the project, like maybe a couple weeks to a month, it would be out there to the public as well. So my stuff is on Pornhub and Xvids as well, so like just watching that there helps. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Newgrounds, or I'm sorry, X. I'm on X as well. Yeah. No. Yeah, but yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Newgrounds, Pornhub, Xvids. Where else am I at? Oh, I'm also on H Hamster. I am on that side as well. You can support me across any of those platforms, but like Patreon would probably be the fastest way to support me if you want to do that. Fastest and most effective. Yes.
I have a tradition here before the guest leaves.
Okay.
The previous guest will ask a question for the next guest, and you have been the new guest, so you have to answer it.
All right.
So yeah, it's a silly question because you know, it's kind of a random question, but yeah, I have to do it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm with it.
It's a math,
I'm ready for it.
it's a math question.
Oh, jeez.
It's a
Bro, I went to art school. I went to art school specifically to avoid that. Okay. Well, that's all right. I'm ready. Do it.
yeah. The question is 2x plus 4 equals 24. What is x?
X should be 0, shouldn't it?
Yep.
Oh,
Correct. That's correct. Yeah, it's a simple one. Yeah, the princess just
mm,
asked that.
mm.
So I guess she couldn't think about anything. So yeah, you came
Okay.
up with that question.
Ah,
So
okay.
yeah, it's your turn now to
Okay.
ask
Okay.
the
Okay.
princess.
So for the next person, I guess this can jump off of a conversation. Um, what insect would you be willing to eat?
Oh, that's very interesting.
If you
Right.
were like, if you had no other choice, what insect would you be willing to eat?
Yep. Yep. That should get us a very interesting answer as well. Well, thank you for coming in, man. I
Thanks for inviting me.
appreciate you. Yep. I didn't notice the time. Good. I had a really good time with you.
Hey,
So thank you for doing this.
hey, yeah, it was fun.
Yep. So that will be the end of the show. Goodbye, everyone.
All right, sleep tight, everyone.